Democratic strategist and former chief of staff to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, Melissa DeRosa, and Republican strategist and former Obama fundraiser turned Trump supporter Allison Wynn with us. You guys both have a mouthful when it comes to bios, but important to point out an important history for both of you. I know I'm going to talk a little bit about Pam Bondi, but before I do, can we just ask you guys the question, guys? I'm going to pause on Pam Bondi. I want to ask the question about Democrats feeling less optimistic. To you, Melissa, first. Are you hearing from people who are still just rattled, shaken, miserable, as Joy from The View has been saying? Is it heartbroken? What's the right word to describe how the party is feeling today?
I think the party's feeling lost across the board. I think that there's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking going on about what went wrong. And then a lot of people feeling like, well, where were you when it mattered? And why were you not speaking up when it mattered? I think there's a lot of discontent towards the media, specifically MSNBC, the New York Times. I think that the people who traditionally watch and read those outlets really feel like they were lied to. They woke up the day after the election and learned there was no Santa Claus. And so I think that there's a lot of distrust, frustration on every level, and now a major power vacuum. And the question is, who's going to step up and fill it, and what's the party's pathway going to be going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. And again, I think it's important for people not to gloat if their candidate won at this particularly tender time in the country. But let's talk about President-elect Trump's choices, particularly for Attorney General. You can put Pam Bondi's photo back up on the screen. She was Florida's Attorney General for 8 years, spent nearly 2 decades as a local and state prosecutor. She was also one of the lawyers defending Mr. Trump during his first impeachment trial. Allison, Bondi is said to be very loyal. Will she be able to create alliances with Democrats and not just be a hammer as Attorney General? What do you think?
I believe so. She has a lot of experience on the legal side. She worked as an attorney for decades, as opposed to the predecessor, Matt Gaetz, who barely had any legal experience. He graduated from law school and maybe worked for a few weeks and then went into the legislature. She is very light on the scandal side. I do believe Matt Gaetz was basically a Queen's Gambit move, brilliant move by Trump to really clear the chessboard. Pam Bondi seems very, very white and pure in terms of coming into this nomination. She also worked as the chair for American First Institute. I recently met with some of the leaders there. It's a very practical organization looking at law and order, how to increase the lifestyle for middle class, improve just overall conditions for working class, middle class Americans.
Now, you just say just white and pure, and I want to clarify that you mean in terms of her having a blank slate, she doesn't have all the baggage that some other candidates might have.
Okay, that's what I didn't mean any political.
I know. I didn't think so, but I was like, I need to say something.
You want to get Allison canceled.
Yes, no, and she won't be. And especially, it's like sometimes you have these conversations and people really aren't listening, but I believed I knew what you meant. But yeah, in terms of just not having a lot of luggage to drag in where she can be attacked and targeted. But we do have one example of her bipartisan friendliness, Melissa, Senate attorney. Forgive me, I'm reading this wrong in the prompter. State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg, he's a former member of the Florida Senate. He says that Bondi has been very kind to him. She was able to reach across party lines in the work that they've done together. Do you think that if she does hold out an olive branch, Democrats will reciprocate?
Look, I'm not sure how brilliant a move it was for Trump to come out with Matt Gaetz. I think that was a total debacle. I think the brilliant move was recognizing it, clearing the slate, and moving on quickly to someone who now is perceived to be highly qualified. I think that when you have her detractors saying things like she's dangerous because of how competent she is, when you've got people like Anna Navarro saying, look, there's no denying that she's a well-accomplished attorney and that she would be good in this position. I think that she's on glide path to getting confirmed. And I think that there can be some bipartisanship. The question is, what are her priorities going to be out of the gate? Is she going to come out of the gate and say, I'm now going to go prosecute anyone who wronged Donald Trump or was perceived to have wronged people in the Republican Party? Or am I going to take on gang crime? Am I going to take on illegal guns crossing over state boundaries? Am I going to take on fentanyl and drugs? And so I think it's going to really depend on her, but I think she has the opportunity to be embraced in a bipartisan way. And now it's just, what does she do with it?
Okay, so that's a good a question for you, Allison, in terms of those issues, whether it is election integrity, or it is crime, or it is disinformation, misinformation, or it is fentanyl, gangs, immigration, the weaponization of the justice system. What should Pam Bondi tackle first?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but her track record shows that she goes after real hard criminals, whether they be the drug cartels, the Venezuelan gangs, the drug dealers from Honduras. She has a lot of experience as the attorney general in Florida, where it was really a port for some of these drug cartels. She shows that she's gone after sex crime criminals, the human trafficking, child trafficking. She's really known for that. So she's made her mark going after hard criminals. In regards to Donald Trump, I myself don't really understand all the allegations and the indictments. And I think the American people, most American people, are with me because they voted for him. Yes, he was indicted many times in New York, 34 times, then 80 times overall. But exactly what were the crimes? Alvin Bragg, the way that he brought the case, these district attorneys, I think people feel like these types of crimes, they're soft crimes. We need to go after hard crimes that are targeted toward our kids, that make our street not very safe, the fentanyl dealers, the homeless problems, the addiction problems, the violent crimes that are hurting our people, also making the streets unsafe. These are real hard issues that are facing our cities like San Francisco, LA. My daughter was violently attacked in Santa Monica. My very good friend in New York City, Asian American, was pushed off a subway platform. And really, like, no one was arrested, nothing was done. The district attorney looked the other way. There are many stories like mine, and we need a strong attorney general that will go after these criminals to really make our streets safe again.
Yeah, I know we're out of time, but it's true. And I think that Democrats, Republicans are seeing the crimes in their city. And hopefully this is something that we can unify over, no matter who you voted for. Melissa DeRosa, Allison Wynn, thank you both, as always.
Thank you so much.